Yes, let's discuss t-test now. So when it comes to t-test, first and foremost, one important thing that you should keep in your mind is the two tests that we have studied till now, correlation and regression. What were they for? They help us to study the relationship between two variables or more than two variables. Two variables in the case of regression, sorry, in the case of correlation. When it comes to regression, you can have more than one predicting variables, independent variables. But still, it tells you the relationship between variables, right? What if I want to do something else? What if I want to know whether, with respect to some particular variable, whether two groups differ significantly? What if suppose alcohol consumption, do men and women significantly differ in their alcohol consumption? With respect to smoking, with respect to income, do men and women, do Hindus and Muslims, do South Indians and North Indians? Suppose I want to know the difference between two groups when it comes to any particular study variable. That is where t-test helps us. Correlation regression cannot help you here at all. So two different kinds of inferential statistical tests. First thing, tests of association or tests of relationship. Correlation regression are tests of relationship. Please remember, they help you to find the relationship, they help you to predict. But to help to find the difference between groups, who helps you? T-test helps you. ANOVA also helps you. But for two groups, if there are two groups, t-test is what helps you. So I hope you understand that. So now, suppose you take some study variables, stress levels. You have two groups, males and females. You want to see whether there is a significant difference between males and females. Again, there also one more thing is there. Please remember, go back to your see. Even though I am teaching you these statistical techniques in a simple way, the larger idea is always remember probability theory, in hypothesis testing, inferential statistics. You suppose found out that in your, suppose you studied 300 people in your small group, in your sample, there was a significant difference. There was a difference, good difference between men and women when it comes to stress levels. But using probability, you want to see whether it applies to the larger group, 10 lakh people, 1 crore people, 5 lakh people. I hope you understand that. That is a different thing. But again, so what is t-test? It is a statistical test used to determine whether there is a significant difference between the means of two groups. Always remember that thing mean. Okay. What is mean? Mean is average, right? Remember I taught you descriptive statistics, very easy, right? The example that I gave you was consider two classrooms, MSW A section, MSW B section. And it is very easy for me to compare these two classes, right? Suppose both classes, both sections they took the same test. They had the same research paper. On an average, I can take the mean of both classes, right? And I can compare the two classes to check whether which class performed better in the research paper, isn't it? 50 students in one class, 50 students in the other class. How will I calculate the mean for each class? I will add up the marks of all the 50 students divided by 50. I'll do the same for the other class also. And whichever class has more marks, right? The mean of section A was suppose 50 marks out of 100, and the mean of the other class was 70 marks out of 100. So when I compare these two classes using their means, it is clear that the other class, section B, performed better, performed well. They had 70 marks on an average. They have 50 marks on an average. But remember the concept of standard deviation, never ever forget. Why did we study standard deviation? How was the variation within groups? Which group is better? It is not just the mean which tells me which group is better, it is the standard deviation also. Suppose this group where the average was 50, but everyone scored above 40 and the maximum marks was around 60, 65. But the other group where the average was 70, a lot of them failed 10 marks, 20 marks, 30 marks, and a lot of them got 80, 90, 95. Now tell me which class is better. You got the idea. Even though mean gives us an overall idea about a group, the standard deviation helps us know that within group variation, this same concept is what we use in t-test and ANOVA also. So if you compare the means of two groups, that is what is given here on the right side. If you compare the means of two groups, you see that there is a significant difference, 50 marks and 70 marks. But you also look at the within group variation, signal and noise, isn't it? In audio, this thing, audio engineering, acoustics and all they teach, right? The that not just that this communication signal transmission, if the noise is too much, the signal will not be transmitted, isn't it? So similarly, that signal to noise ratio is what actually t-test is. So if the difference is large compared to the variation, you can say that there is a significant result. Here you say that if the difference between the groups is significant, is considerable, and the noise or within group variation, standard deviation is also low, you can say that uh, your alternate hypothesis can be accepted. Same hypothesis testing, same procedure. There is nothing special here. Now, one more thing, there are two types of t-tests, independent t-tests and paired t-tests. It is simple. Independent t-tests we do when two different groups, males and females, there are 20, suppose 50 people in one group, 50 people in another group. They are not the same people, right? Different individuals. Paired t-test is when we do something called as quasi-experimental research design. You have one group, you took data from them first, and then you gave them, suppose, some therapy, yoga therapy, laughter therapy, and after that therapy, you again take data from the same group to look at the change, what change happened to them. That is where you do that paired sample t-test, where you take before and after data from the same group. And these are all again same hypothesis testing. This thing was for t-test, right? Not hypothesis testing. So I'm not elaborating that. So again, it is extremely important, this t-test. It can give you, suppose you are doing a study where you are studying the AI use of students, but two groups, students who use AI 4 hours daily and students who use AI only for 1 hour. Now, these are two groups. You can check whether there you can compare it with their marks. You can compare it with their marks. So, do the marks of these students, 4 hours and 1 hour students, does it differ significantly? Does AI affect their marks? I hope you got an idea as to what a t-test is. Same thing, nothing much to mention here. So I don't forget, to understand t-test properly, you need to know the concept of mean and standard deviation again. I hope that was clear. Next video, we'll discuss ANOVA. Thank you.